Hey everyone, Peach here with episode 4 of the Omega Arms series. And if you don't know what Omega Arms are, be sure to watch episode 1 first. Now episode 1 will give you an overview of the many exercises which are enabled by the Omega Arms, which are essentially DIY iso lever jammer arms with a twist. Now this episode, episode 4, delves into great detail on one of those exercises, the pendulum squat. Alright, so to set up the configuration for the pendulum squat, we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. So, step 1 is I'm going to take 2 J-hooks and I'm going to add them to my rack in the rear at the very bottom. Next, I'm going to take a barbell and put them on the J-hooks. Then, I'm going to take some fat grips and I'm going to add them to the barbell. The next step, we're going to take that foot plate that we built back in episode 3 of the Omega Arms series for our leg press, and I'm going to lean it against the fat grips. Now, if you're crazy tall, this will be sufficient as is. If you're not, and I'm 6 foot and I require this, if you're not, I'm going to take 2 3-foot long, 3/4 inch nipples with caps, and I'm going to run them through the foot plate. Okay, and then we take those nipples and we lean them against the fat grips. And there you have it. This is the platform we'll be using for our pendulum squat. All right, now we're going to install the brackets on our rack, behind the rack at the highest point possible. We're not going to be able to get away with just putting the 60-inch nipple on the J-hooks this time like we did with the leg press. And the reason? Well, the reason's quite boring, so go to DIYfitnessclub.com for an explanation of that. So, I'm going to be putting these brackets on now with 6-inch nipples, just like I showed you back in episode 2. And the other side. And now, of course, we're going to run that 60-inch, 3/4 inch nipple through the brackets. And now we're going to add both Omega Arms to the 60-inch nipple with the side, which has 3 floor flanges pointing towards the front of your rack. And now we add 3/4 inch nipple caps to the ends of the 60-inch nipple. And now I'm going to take a 24-inch long, 3/4 inch nipple and run it through the second hole of my Omega Arms. And we're going to take a 1.5 inch piece of PVC and put it on top of the nipple. Now before we put the nipple caps on, we're also going to add a 3-foot toe strap. And I got this off Amazon and I'll put the link in the description below. Now we're going to take a soft loop tie-down strap attached to a 5/16 inch hook, and we're going to attach it to our pull-up bar. Now I'm going to take a carabiner. It happens to be a 1/2 inch by 5.5 inch carabiner, and I'm going to attach this to the toe strap and connect it to this hook. Now we take our 60-inch, 3/4 inch nipple and run it through the first set of holes. Then we take our Olympic plate adapters, and I taught you how to make these back in episode 2. One thing I neglected to mention though in that episode is when you're pounding the 1-inch Schedule 40 caps into the 1.5 PVC, be sure to use some kind of PVC cement to really lock those cores in the adapters. So now we'll throw these on. These happen to be about 18.25 inches long each. Then we add our nipple caps. Now we're going to take 2 6-inch long, 3/4 inch nipples and we're going to add them to the floor flanges here on the bottom. These will act as handles to hang on to when performing the exercise. Last step, now take a barbell pad and add it to the center. Now add weight on these Olympic plate adapters and exercise. Now as far as clamps, there's several options here. So these are typical barbell clamps you may have or may have seen. They will not work on 1.5" PVC. Too loose. These all metal ones work great because you can really tighten the hell out of them and get a very snug fit. And they're not going anywhere. These don't work, but you can get them to work. So these cheapo ones that you may have, they're also too loose on 1.5" PVC. So to solve that, I'm going to take a soft loop tie down strap, feed it through the clamp. You might have to go twice just to kind of shim it up, and now add the clamp. Now that thing ain't going anywhere. So when you're ready to exercise, just stick your head right here, put your neck against the barbell pad, then you're just going to unhook the carabiner from this snap hook here. When you're done, and you're done with your exercise, all you do is you hook back up and step out. Easy peasy. So one thing we do need to worry about is a tipping hazard. We don't want anyone getting hurt. So some options for you. Number one, you could bolt down your rack. However, if that's not feasible for you, you could also add a bunch of plates to this barbell here in the back to act as a counterbalance. And or you could do what I did. I took the rubber feet off my rack's 2x2 square tubing down here, and now I take my rack safety bar and I stick it inside the feet. Then I take an 18-inch long, 3/4 inch nipple, and I put that inside as well, just to kind of snug it up. And now, what I've essentially done is I added about 2.5 feet to my rack's feet. Ain't no way in hell this thing's gonna tip over now. All right, so that does it for this video, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode of the Omega Arms series. So, be sure to subscribe to the channel to be alerted the moment the next episode drops.